Hey everybody, how you doing today? Welcome to my channel, and remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and we'll go ahead and get into it. So today is Sunday, specifically the 16th of August, and I've just been here at Crave Coffee and Tea, like I usually am, reading, studying, listening, writing, and now making this video for you guys. Sharing another poem, and today I'm actually going to share, quite literally, oh, how about that? That is almost 200 pages. Well, at least on the, not the audio book, but the ebook. So, because I'm writing my second book, and I was looking at how far I am right now with that, and I'm now at 144 pages, and so more than likely, I'm estimating that I'll crack at least 200 pages on this second book. Reason why I looked at the looked at the page on the on my ebook. So today I'm going to end up reading the last poem in my first book called "I Am," and the quick backdrop to that, and then also why I'm reading the last poem today. As I was working in Alaska in the school district, I was a teacher's aide and a substitute teacher, and da 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 da. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I really did. I love working with the youth and working in special education. Because quite honestly, that's just really where I come from. You know, I had an IEP, I was in special education, grew up dealing with a lot of the challenges that a lot of kids and families end up dealing with, having to deal with a disability. But at any rate, in this school I worked at called Begich Middle School, the teacher, particularly one teacher, she had a project for the kids to write a poem, and as a person who writes poetry, she asked me to help the kids to write it, and I took on the same challenge and came up with this poem. But I really enjoyed not just writing the poem, but other teachers at Begich Middle School would ask me to come and teach the section on poetry, as to share some of my poetry and to really just hear the thoughts and ideas of the kids, and it was so fun. But that is why I wrote this poem. My glasses are dirty. But this is why I wrote the poem, I Am. And without further ado, after I put my glasses back on, since I'm nearsighted, I'll read this poem and then share with you also what I've been pondering today as I've been sitting here. I almost see. There we go. All right. So it's called I Am. I am from tube TV, from dirt bikes and playgrounds with tire swings. I am from communities of love, laughter, protection, and life. I am from the solid oak tree, whose branches spread wide and roots that grow deep. I am from forts forged by imagination and ghostwriting bikes. From the Bynum clan and rich black history. I am from barbecues and unorthodox holiday dinners. From ancestors of alcoholics and military men. From sharecroppers and slaves, they were strong, hard workers. I am from Lord willing and the creek don't rise, and Lord have mercy. I am from the civil rights era and Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. From fried chicken and cornbread, from lynching and melatonic hatred. Being held in my mother's arms, I am from the moments that have made me who I be, who I is, and who I am, and all I strive to be. You see, I am an ancestral prodigy. So that is I Am. And it can be found in my book, Poetic Journey, The Progression of My Heart on Paper. And it's actually quite literally the last poem in the book. So if you would like to read that poem for yourself over and over and over and over again, as well as all the other poems that I've placed in that book, I'll put the link in the description. You can purchase it on Zulon Press, and quite honestly, I'll put that link in the description. You can also get it as an ebook. I'm checking into audible.com because I think it would be really cool to actually read my book on Audible. But at any rate, today I was watching a couple of videos. One, I can't remember the guy's name, but he himself is a type of prodigy within the military world. He's done the SEAL team training, and as well as other super hard trainings, and I think it was 10,000 pull-ups in 14 hours, I think it was. And then he goes in to tell his story, where he comes from, and he comes from this place where he says it himself that he heard a loud scream one night, and he got up from bed and he saw what the scream was. His mother screaming loud as his father was beating her to death. He said he ran downstairs and jumped on his back, and in turn his father turned around and beat the crap out of him too. He goes on to share how hard his life was growing up, not just in that environment, but how it, in a sense, detrimentally changed his environment. He didn't ask for it, just like many of you didn't ask for the cars that you've been dealt, or myself, for that matter. But one of the things that he did is he said he was watching TV, and he was watching, it was a commercial, or what he saw at any rate, was these men that were in the process of becoming SEALs, and how there were those that dropped out, but then there was those that stayed. And he said, that's what I wanted so bad. And then when he said that, it was so interesting, because it was like an affirmative to what we long for as young men, as boys. There's an innate longing that we have to come into manhood. That's in all men specifically. Now, the same is true for young women, for little girls. There's an innate desire to become something that we're designed to become. First, by nature and our Creator, right? And then by nurture. There's something in us that says, I'm made to do something very specific. Not just to become anything I desire to become, but rather to become what I'm purposed to be because of who created me. God created me, right? And so then the guy, he goes on to say, he would run home every day after school. He did very poorly in school. It was just really difficult for him. But he would run home every day after school, and he remembered watching Rocky, and the specific fight that he talks about is Rocky and Apollo Creed, and Apollo Creed's just jacking Rocky up, right? And then the last time that Rocky's knocked down, Apollo Creed, he thinks he's got it, right? He thinks he's got the match won, it's all good, and then Rocky gets up, and the face, and they show this clip on the video, right? His face is like, for real, man? You want some more? I don't got much more to give you, but I'll give it to you. But Apollo Creed ends up losing. Rocky wins. If you've seen any of the Rockies, you know the story. But that really spoke to me, because this man, he said, I wanted that. That's what I wanted. That anything, whether that be his father, another person, a challenge got in his way, he was like, I'm not going to give up until I win. And so, I mean, it was amazing watching this guy and listening to him. And I also thought about the young men that I work with, and how my story and their story and the story that this man told were similar, or the similarities in the story, disadvantages, right? So after I watched that video, I then watched the one about Muhammad Ali and how he grew up and how he fought all the way to his death, and it was very similar. Whether you agree, disagree, right, wrong, indifferent, the point here is that he stood not only for what he believed, but he was willing to fight for what he believed, irregardless of the cost or what it was going to cost him. But it wasn't an ambiguous idea of what it was going to cost him. He knew that he was going to go to jail. He didn't know that it was going to take, I think it said 5 years, 3 to 5 years to fight the case after, rejected going into the military. He fought to have something for his children after he was gone. And so he took into consideration the cost. But here's the thing. I don't think that even if you or I or anybody else in history or coming into the present or in the future count the cost, I don't think that we really ever fully comprehend the cost that it's going to cost us to achieve what we truly desire, that which we were designed to accomplish in this life. I know that to some degree that is true for myself. But I think too that not knowing is not the issue. The challenge and the issue tends to be keeping on going. But I sat and I watched this video from Muhammad Ali and listened to his words and listened to the words of others that engaged with him. Just so amazing. And I'm sitting there just crying while I watch it, because I can't help but think about myself, my life, and the challenges that I've dealt with, thinking about my family, both biological family and adoptive family, thinking about the young men I've worked with, the young men and women that I've worked with in the past, and just a deep desire to see them not just do well, but to succeed in spite of the challenges and sin's mark on our lives. At any rate, I'm going to come back to the poem that I shared in the very beginning, I Am. And as I pretty much chronicled where I come from, it's one thing to know that you have it rough in different times of life. But I think it's another thing also to think about what is the makeup of what has made it rough or hard or difficult or challenging in your life. As I look back at the lineage of my family, of my biological family, of my adoptive family, my friends, all these different things, but specifically my biological family, I had to remember not only where I come from specifically in the individual parts, but then I have to start to comprehend and understand what that means for me as I move forward to what I desire to become. Because I don't believe that you just can become anything that you want to be. With the caveat of this, I can become anything I want to be within the framework of how I've been created to perform, to process thought, what brings me energy in life, what drains it, what bores the draws off of me. I love people. I love engaging. I love problem solving. I love sitting down. As a matter of fact, one of the books I'm reading right now. Boom. Don't worry. This is all coffee. I got this coffee spilt on this book. Funny enough, I was in side story. Before I moved from Anchorage, Alaska, last October, we had that 7.2 earthquake. And earthquakes weren't anything horrific necessarily for Alaskans, because it's like, oh, it's an earthquake, cool, whatever, just do about whatever you're doing. And the earthquake started going, and we were like, oh, earthquake, coffee starting to spill on my book. Then all of a sudden, I mean, I was literally, if this is the floor and I'm on the floor, I'm boom, 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 because the earthquake was doing this. Anyway, so that's how the coffee stain got on the book. But this is one of the books that I'm reading right now. And then also another book that I'm reading right now. Really good book. I love to study and think and process, so that not just to study and process, but I know that I engage with a lot of people that have things going on with their brains, and just like me. And I love being able to sit down and just have a conversation. Like, what's going on? And if I can help, I'm going to help. But at any rate, coming back into it, not becoming just anything. That is an ambiguous pitfall that I think a lot of people have fallen into and have the propensity to fall into. And why I say an ambiguous pitfall is because, well, if I can become anything I want to in the world, as we and a lot of people have been told, and especially in school or by your parents, not knocking on your parents or your favorite teacher, but if that is what I'm going off of, I'm going to have a harder time narrowing it down, because I can be anything. But if I can be anything within this framework, the steps to getting to what I want to become a lot more clear. So at any rate, whoops, that's what you get for tapping on the table. So at any rate, when I say I'm an ancestral prodigy, I wasn't supposed to be here, man. I wasn't. By God's grace and sovereignty, I am. And what I'm saying is, when I was a kid, or when I was born, I had came after my mother's 2 miscarriages. She had my brother, who ended up having a collapsed lung and dying. And then there's my sister, who's, about 22 years older than I am. So my parents, they were already in their older age. And then in the 70s, especially the 79, 80, I think that there was a lot of, there wasn't as many resources in the medical community as there is now. That's what I'm saying. So for me to come out then, quite literally, was a feat in itself. I came head first, not feet though. And 2 days after that, I had a seizure. I didn't know this. I mean, my parents told me. Later on, had more seizures, right? And so, from conception, I shouldn't have been here, with all the other challenges that have come. But if you stay tuned, you'll hear some of those challenges. You've heard some of them if you watch my other videos. I encourage you to watch my other videos. And again, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and have an amazing day. This is Poetic Journey, Session 5. And I'll just title it, I Am. I am challenged. I'll title it that. I am challenged. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day.